It's now time for Remember When with Uncle John. John Guess, Ouachita County's resident storyteller and local historian. Sit back now and enjoy a walk down memory lane as John recalls the days of yesteryear in his own unique way. You never know, some of it might even be true. So here's Uncle John, along with his trusty sidekick, Kelly Blair.
Back on Remember When with Uncle John. Well, we did it. We survived yet another Monday, rolling along here on a Tuesday. And, John, you said you got to catch up with somebody just the other day.
You know, President's Day, I was out riding around with a lady friend of mine. You know, we were enjoying the day. And we ended up over in Clark County, and there's a little town called Bern.
Okay.
It's between Wheeling Springs and Gurdon. You turn off Highway 51 and go back into Bern.
Population of?
Maybe 65, 70 people.
There you go.
Probably not that many.
Does that count coon dogs?
Yes.
Okay.
Anthony Timberlands has a big mill over there. It used to be the Cave Brothers Mill.
Nice.
Great big sawmill. And inside of the mill lives a good friend of mine, a lifelong friend, Mr. Clois Dickey.
Inside the mill?
Well, in sight.
In sight. I'm sorry.
Like a block down from the mill.
Okay.
You can look on my Facebook page from a week or so ago, and you'll see a picture of he and I. Clois is a very famous person in the local bar scene, I guess you'd say, especially from the 70s and 80s and into the 90s. Now,
a local living legend.
A local living legend. Now, Clois is a little long in the tooth now, you know.
Yeah, right.
But he has survived a tumultuous life and a life filled with fun, frolic, and activity.
Why do I feel like that's got him enough calluses he could still party with the best of them now, into the night?
He ran the big crane there at that mill in Bern for years and years.
Oh, cool.
And you had to climb up in it. You got way up in it. It's way up high. He got up in there every morning with his lunch and something to drink. And I'm sure he had some sort of facilities up in there. And he didn't come down until the day was over.
Wow.
He worked Monday through Friday. Now, this is the 70s and 80s. On Friday evening, he went home, and he cleaned up, kissed his wife goodbye, and he got with his lifelong friend, Bobby Powell. They drove to White Oak Bell, parked the truck, put the keys under the seat, went in the bar, partied till the bar closed at midnight, or till somebody was leaving going to Bragg Lake to the Sunset Lounge. Caught a ride to the Sunset Lounge, partied there until somebody was going to the retreat. Went to the retreat, stayed till the retreat opened at daylight, closed at daylight. Caught a ride, usually with somebody to the 79 truck stop, made breakfast, and then hitchhiked back to Chittister. And the bell opened at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. And they began the day on Saturday, and they hung around the bell all day long and into the night, until they caught somebody going to Bragg Lake, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm picking up on a pattern here.
Now, that was every weekend.
Wow.
As far as I know, for years. And then on Sunday, after they left the truck stop, they would hitchhike back to White Oak Bell, get in the truck, and go home, and get ready for the week again. Mm-hmm. Now, Clois's pattern changed a little bit after Bobby died. Bobby was a meat cutter at Taylor Brothers Meat Plant there in Gurdon. Bobby got cancer back in the 80s and passed away. Clois's routine changed a little bit, but I'm telling you, in the local tavern scene, whether it was Ogie Mall, whether it was the VFW, whether it was the 79 Club at Bearden, White Oak Bell, Sunset Lounge, the old Hideaway where the sandbar is now, the Zodiac used to be in the Owens Motor Inn, the clubs out across the river, the Rocket Inn, the Rocket Room at the old Camden Hotel. Clois went and Clois stomped his foot and Clois sang. And in about 15 minutes, they'd tell him to be quiet, and he'd be quiet for about 5 minutes and he'd sing again.
There you go.
And the greatest memory is hearing him in Tebow's, stomping on the bottom of the table singing, "I don't want to have to marry you. I don't want to have to say I do."
Okay.
But Clois is a living legend. I love him to death. We all love him. He's had some, his wife passed away a few years ago. He's had some hard years, but I love him. I look up to him. He's a great guy. He'll do anything in the world for you. And just want to acknowledge him. And after I left his house, my friend and I went down to Little Mo's liquor store, got us a half a dozen pickled eggs.
I was just going to ask where y'all got those pickled eggs.
And I'm going to tell you, they were some kind of wonderful.
Hey, there you go.
But this goes out to my good friend Clois Dickey. And like I said, a legend in the business, and I think a lot of him.
There you go. Hey, that's going to wrap up Remember When with Uncle John here for today, but not before we acknowledge some of our sponsors, including our good friends over at the Shopper's Guide.
And ProMed Ambulance, 1-800-634-0436. Give them a call.
Also, the folks over at Sherwin-Williams House Paint for all your house painting needs, 836-8125. And be sure to catch our podcast anywhere you can find podcasts, all over. Remember When with Uncle John. I guess we'll see you tomorrow, John.
See you tomorrow, Kelly.
You've been listening to Remember When with Uncle John on Y95. This broadcast can be heard each weekday morning at 6:45 on South Arkansas's favorite station, Y95.